All right, let's talk about 10 bad reasons to get divorced. Trigger a lot, trigger a lot. I'm gonna trigger a few people. Hey, Esther, good to see you, Esther. Trigger a lot, I'm gonna trigger you, but keep an open mind, okay? If you have any specific questions, you have pushback, turn them to questions, if you will. Um, maybe I will learn something, okay? Maybe there's an angle that I can't see. Maybe I will learn something from you today, okay? But the truth is that we're in a space where, I actually be honest with you. By the way, look out for the Valentine's special we have. My wife will be hanging out with me here on Man of Prestige. So we're going to be having that conversation here for next month with you all here. So look out for that. It's already on the channel. Just set your notifications on so you don't miss that. Okay. So by the way, I asked her just before I said, "What do you think, babe? Like, what do you think could be a bad reason for divorce?" She did what most women would do, right? Anybody want to guess? What did she do? What is it that most women would do? Before I get into it, anybody want to guess? Before I continue right now, she did what most women would do in this situation. I asked her, "What do you think a bad reason to get divorced would be?" Her answer is what I would expect from most modern women. What is most modern women? All of you are modern women, by the way. If you're here, I don't care how red pilled you think you are a modern woman. Okay? It is what it is. Don't fight it, embrace it so you can learn the lessons you need to learn. Okay? Um Anybody want to guess? What do you think her answer was when I asked her what bad reasons? No, no, those are good reasons for divorce. Those could be good reasons for divorce. DV could be good reasons for that's what? DV is always a good reason for divorce. Like at least, temporarily you have to be willing to live so that you can be here to sort out tomorrow. Yeah, what do you think? I asked her, what do you think could be a bad reason? What is the reason why that somebody could this I had to explain this to her too. What is the reason? This is why I ask her some of these topics before I come on because sometimes the way I'm going to pass is going to be terrible. But let me tell you something. Most of the stuff I talk about here, if I say it the way it's coming down to my brain, you won't understand me for the most part. Okay. So sometimes I have to pass it by and say, what do you think about this? Just so I can make sure that I'm communicating, right? So I had to explain it to her too. Like if somebody would tell you, if you ask them, this is my reason for divorcing my wife, my husband, and you would be like, you threw the whole bath water away with the baby? Why would you do that just for that stupid reason? A reason that you would consider just it's not good enough. Not stupid. Stupid is like extreme, but you feel like it's not good enough reason to file for divorce, right? And she wouldn't yeah, so this would be good reason. I'm looking for bad reason. I asked her what would be bad reason. DV is a good reason, but I meant a list of general stuff we say every day. Oh, okay, yeah. So what would be the a reason that your friend said, listen, I went and initiated the divorce and they gave you that reason and you're like, are you sure you ever liked this person before? Because your reason no they had up. Right? Or so what do you think our answer for me was? Because you are doing it right now, D Love. You're already doing it. You're doing exactly what she did right now already. Like, come on. There's gotta be some reasons that people are like the divorce rate is skyrocketing everywhere. No matter how you look at it, it's either people are not getting married or the divorce rate are going up, right? Some people say divorce rates are going down. Maybe because people are not getting married, right? I don't know the intricacies of those things. My job is to bring it down to individual level and increase your chances of not having to end up in that situation in your journey from now on, right? That's my job. What are the reasons? Ice, how you there? Ah, that's a good one. This is a good one. Ice is snoring. Oh boy, some people need their sleep. Oh. Hey, yes. Some people need their sleep that bad that they gave such a bad reason to divorce. Well, you know what? That snoring thing, right? The truth is that I have never met or seen any example of any persons that filed a divorce because of snoring. They might complain about it. It might tamper with other things later on. It might be one of the things in the sequence, one of the elements in the sequence that led down to the divorce. But just for that sole reason, yeah, I don't know. Uh, Tell me, there might be somebody out there that have filed divorce. The way they eat and talk, yeah, that falls in the same category, right? The way when you just eat anyhow, right? I want divorce. No, usually they just stay there and punish themselves when they are annoying themselves in that way. Unless it's a part of many, many other things, right? And I do believe that people don't have one reason. It's a series of many things, right? That will make people pull that trigger. A good one, eyesight is good one. Yeah, those would be terrible reasons if that exists. But I've got 10 that I want to cover here, and I will explain why I think they are in real life, in reality, and how they work. Okay, for each one of these reasons, right? You can think of short term, mid term, long term, right? Some people experience some of these things in a very short term, and it's just that bad for them. Some people it's like a consistent situation. For people it's like they've been dealing with it for years. I believe that there's some deal breakers. Most deal breakers is not something that people are able to identify before they're in it. All right. So let's already right there stop the cap before we move too far.
Stop the cap.
All right. I know you want to identify all your deal breakers before. Most of the time, you don't know what your deal breaker is until you are in it. Until you find yourself in it and you're like, I can't deal with that. Okay. In reality, meaning when that finally happens to you, it's either it's not that easy for you to leave or you didn't know this was your deal breaker. Like that, you were ready to leave, even though you didn't think earlier that that would be a deal breaker for you. But after the event happened, it tampered with your level of trust for that marriage. You felt extremely betrayed. You couldn't sleep at night. You felt like you're hearing voices in your head and you had to run away. It was just that bad for you. And you probably run your mouth 10 years ago when you were chatting on YouTube why some people leave their marriage so easily. Right? But then that happened to be a deal breaker for you. So it's not stuff there's only so far you can prepare for quote unquote deal breakers. People don't tell main reason, but all encompass. Yes, they couldn't. More so that they couldn't tell because they're caught up in the emotions. Yeah, more so. Hi, guys, I miss you. Where have you been? So let's get into number one reason on my list here. Number one is incompatibility. Hola, are you saying some people are just always compatible? Bruh, you were compatible when you were doing that career, right? You were compatible when you were in love. You were compatible when you thought she had big nyash. You were compatible when you thought she was doing well financially. Oh, it wasn't about the finances, Abby. You just thought you were compatible. But okay, you were compatible when syphilis never enter, right? Suddenly you get into the middle of a place and suddenly you're no longer compatible, right? Some people say sexual incompatibility. Why? Because you've been learning some new things and it's not stepping up its game, right? Right. But most times when people talk about incompatibility, I do think incompatibility exists. I do think most times when people talk about it is big cap.
Stop the cap.
Okay. There are other issues going on. It doesn't mean there are no other issues, but it's not incompatibility. See, all of us, every single one of us, right? You're going to have an experience inside of your marriage, no matter how much you prepared. You're going to have that moment that you start to question how compatible you are with your partner. When you accept this as a reason in general in society, you're now giving license to every moment that a person feels like they're not compatible to just pull the trigger on their family. Yeah, men are pulling triggers on their on divorce right now because there's enough lame feminine men on the internet telling them to not deal with nonsense. So what do? They say, "Yeah, I just have to move on because it just seems like she's a typical woman." Yeah. So you're gonna end up with another typical woman, you dummy. Right? So incompatibility, it could be a thing. I just want any of the reasons that I'm gonna give you henceforth, you gotta be careful with them. You have to be careful with these reasons. They will creep in your mind. That moment is coming when you feel like, I just don't feel like we're compatible. When did that start? Was it right after the wedding or before the wedding? Right? We need like, it could be, but you need to answer further questions before we will accept that as a good reason from you. Okay? We need you to answer more questions. The same thing goes for the other reasons I'm going to give you right now. Yeah. They noticed but thought their partner would change or they could cope. That exists too, but some are just noticing for the first time because it's actually just PLC finish. They are taking what is readily available for granted. Suddenly, what is now readily available is like, suddenly it could be better on the other side. This is a real thing. The grass is greener on the other side syndrome. It's a real thing, right? Suddenly, they're fantasizing about the idea that they're more compatible with somebody that they don't live with right now. Why? Because precisely they don't live with that person right now. Right? And yes, some people are just not compatible. Okay? But remember, marriage was also about commitment. See, I'm not even the type to push commitment down people's throat too much because this is reality. If someone don't want to date the marriage, they don't want to be there. It's better to let them go. All right, it's better that if there's any chances of fixing anything, it's gonna start with your ability to let go. Okay, it's gonna start with that. However, uh, it goes without saying, I have to tell you that a lot of people that are busy running around the internet talking about incompatibility are basically lazy-minded people that don't want to do any further work beyond how they feel in a moment. That's what's going on. Julian Lifestyle. Said after the wedding. After the wedding, after you committed. You know what commitment means? Commitment means you set what you said you would do, right? And long after that feeling, that mood you set it in has left you, you decide that you're going to do what you said you would do, right? It's a question of integrity, as a matter of fact. I see these days people don't care. They don't care about integrity anymore, right? They just like, no, just how I feel. I'm just going to do me. Right? We're in that space. Both men and women are doing it, and we're all ending in the poto. That's why you see that it's terrible everywhere. Yeah, I don't want to link it too far, but that's the key thing I want you to learn out of this one. Shout out to you, Julian, and Open Floor. Welcome. Happy Sunday. The key thing is to be careful with these reasons. Okay. I don't know. We can basically look at everything and say they're all bad reasons for divorce because divorce is, everybody hates it, right? I think we don't get, ultimately this is what my wife said. And that's why I was saying Ice Ice and D Love was already doing it. She was like, I don't think I can tell anybody what is bad or what's good. Like, dude, yes you can. Bruh. We know what bad reasons are. When you get any reason you give, no matter how solid it sounds on the surface, any reason you give and you haven't done the work, yes, that will be bad. Now on the surface it can look good, even including DV. All right, even including DV. When I say leave when there's DV, I mean leave now, like save your life, leave now. It doesn't have to be a permanent decision. I know we live in a time and age that we should tell everybody that needs to be a permanent decision. If it's a narcissist, that needs to be a permanent decision. No, it's not. No, it's not. As a matter of fact, that's a narcissistic thing to say. That's pride talking. As a matter of fact. See, we have a hard time looking in the mirror, all of us. Have you ever considered that? That may be a narcissistic thing to say. You say, no, if you find a narcissist, just leave. Have you ever considered that that's a narcissistic thing to say? Because suddenly you could never be the narcissist, right? Says who? Have you read the meanings of the narcissism? Have you self-absorbed, like holier than thou, right? Okay, all right. We'll yeah, the consideration exactly. Yep. Let's move on to the next one. The next one on this. Let me know if you do like this style of stories. By the way, I'll be releasing more of them if you like them. Number 2, I wasn't ready for marriage. Wait. I'm not saying the reason why you didn't get married. Okay, I need to slow you down here. Okay, I'm saying you are inside it already, right? And the reason that you're trying to pull the plug is I wasn't ready for marriage. Majority of the reasons you're going to see here are going to be attached to people's temporary feelings. Listen, what I teach here is to acknowledge people's feelings, okay? Because actually, if you don't do that, you're not going past that, okay? I understand that feelings are the reality. They are what we are. Our emotions are real. They are what they are, okay? But I said, let's acknowledge it. Can we acknowledge the part where you're just not feeling this marriage right now? The part where you're afraid right now. You're basically, this is fear, right? I wasn't ready for marriage. If you weren't ready for marriage, there's a good chance. You had so many chances to not get through with a marriage, right? Okay, Ola, what about a situation where we just eloped and we're in Vegas, we were drunk, and we just kind of went into the temple and we pulled the trigger, right? What about that kind of situation now? Ola, stop the cap. What about when we're just drunk? I know. It's just sad, right? Not that part. The part that's sad is that you have to pull extreme examples into these things all the time. We're not talking about extreme. There's no extreme anybody here on Man of Prestige. We talk about real life things that are happening to people. People that actually had 9 months to get ready for marriage, they actually went through it. They will have moments again, especially if you're married early. You married anything before 30 and you're a woman especially. You'll feel sometimes like, maybe I should have waited to 35. I rushed it too much. That moment is going to come. And in your mind, you thought it's because you were 26 when you did it. No, actually, you will feel the same feeling if you marry at 56. It's just that you will call it a different name. And you'll be ready to pull the plug as well. Okay? At that point, you won't say, I wasn't ready for marriage. Right? At that point, you will call it, marriage is it's just not for me. That's what you will call it at that time. I wasn't ready for marriage. It's a bad reason, right? Listen, you have the freedom to pull the plug on a marriage you don't want to be in. I am giving you that freedom, okay? Because if you don't want to be in it, the other person's not going to enjoy it either. You're not going to enjoy it. It's pointless, okay? But just maybe, you're not realizing that this is a temporary feeling. Maybe there's some things you can learn. Maybe there's a part of your purpose you're not engaging that's making you feel this way. Because the idle mind is the devil's playground, right? If you lack purpose in life, the devil will come and play all day long. It will make you doubt every decision you've ever made ever before, including marriage. Okay? And when you're moving that way, guess what you're provoking in your partner's moves? The insecurity. They're going to feel some type of way and they're going to lash out too, right? And that's going to confirm your feelings. Like, yeah, I knew it. I shouldn't have been in this situation, right? You guys will be confirming each other, right? Before you know it, somebody's going to pull the trigger and call it a day. I wasn't ready for marriage. Listen, I hear you. What else is going on? Let's hear it. What's the story? Okay? It's if you're not feeling good in a marriage, it's natural that you might feel like you weren't ready for marriage. And you're like 28 and you're talking about you're not ready for marriage. Some of you are 33. You feel like you just weren't ready for marriage. Oh, we did it too early. Really? You think so? I'm just saying, I have more questions. I want to hear your story. I have more questions. Okay? All right. Chinye, you're late. Welcome. Good to see you. All right. How do you differentiate I am not feeling it right now versus I might not feel it forever? That's purpose. That's purpose. That's a sense of purpose. And you see, when a lot of people are committing to marriage and they don't really understand what purpose means, right? That's where that's coming from. Okay. So if you lack a sense of purpose with regards to the marriage, right? When you hit that stumbling block, when you hit like a little hiccup, right? The decisions get questioned. But when there's a price, like that price is like a meaningful life, like a sense of purpose, right? When there's that price there and you're on that journey, the journey is actually you're already engaged in that result already. It's almost no reasons, right? But the second part of it, the elephant in the room, is that you need a partner also that will make you feel comfortable in that situation. Yes, you owe each other, dare I say it, happiness. A lot of you are running around and saying, no one can make you happy. You're right, but they can influence your level of happiness, okay? They can, both men and women, okay? If that's not the case, men will not be running around town talking about they need femininity. Why? You're supposed to make yourself happy, right? So I might not feel it forever. You should just purpose and then also understanding that there's gonna be a phase that you're gonna get through that you're not feeling it. It's a phase, right? Then at some point, if you pull through, right, as long as you're safe and you're not being abused or anything crazy like that, right? There's a point you pull through that enjoying things, feeling it forever becomes like a second nature, right? The problem right now is that we have too much information, and that information is tampering with our ability to be able to seek it through that phase. It's not just marriage; it's literally in everything. Even when you engage a job, right? What do we have today? People are not able to stay on the job for more than 3 years. Back in the days, it used to be 40 years. Well, there's a disengagement from why people waited on a job for 40 years until they retired. Something is off, right? If they jump ship to another job right now, they might get 2 levels promotion instead of just half a promotion, right? So it's a little tricky. It's just illusion and delusion of options. It's still fact that you staying in one lane, right? Staying in one lane and working on yourself as opposed to spreading yourself too thin is still the key to a life of fulfillment. You have to get to a point where you just know that I need to learn how to double down, build on top of the little success I had yesterday is still key to ultimate fulfillment in life. And ultimate fulfillment in life is always often not just money. Money is a byproduct of everything else. Okay? A lot of people are making money and big nyash their purpose. That's the problem right now. So if you say it, what is it? What are you feeling forever? If you can picture you've been 65 years of age and you're celebrating each other 5 years apart, maybe in age, maybe a little bit more, right? And you have your children. If you can picture that, if you have foresight like that, right? Things become a little bit easier. If you're short-sighted, meaning you're always looking at the other car that the other person is driving, you have no contentment, right? Then these are the issues. But what do we know about this generation? We're living in a microwave society right now, and everybody is looking for quick results. And if the result is not hitting anymore, we'll go look for something else as opposed to, wait, I know this thing right here. Let me work on it. Let's find out what is it about this thing because I probably well, you have leverage because you're already there, right? And again, like I said, unless it's something completely a terrible situation, which is usually not the case. Those are the minorities. Okay. All right. Also, maybe they realize they can't achieve their motive. Yes, still feelings. They don't know this. The fact we know is what I just explained. You know, there's some lane that you be on and it's just a lost cause, right? You are not able to tell. You need someone to help you look at that and say, hey, this lane is not going to end good. You need to exit, right? But a lot of people are making this, they're self-medicating on those kind of decisions, okay? So, and Isaiah says, yes, all times art is good and bad, yes. So if you know that you're learning as you're going, you're learning. When you jump ship from this lane to another lane, you have to learn that thing from scratch. You shoot yourself backwards by 60 years and you've already used 60 years of your life. I mean, my math is up, or you know what I mean, right? Does that mean you should stay in terrible situation? No. I'm saying make sure you assess situations because there's more than enough influence around you to tell you to jump ship right now, both men and women. There's more than enough influence around you right now that's encouraging you to jump ship emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And your best leverage is your experience. Your best point of leverage is the experience you've had. Okay? So just assess it very well. And I would say get help to assess it if it's really that bad and it's confusing. Then that's why you have professionals to help you. Okay? More information is supposed to be a good thing, right? But every new solution creates new problem. Our new problem right now is that there's too much information and everyone is an expert. Yes, so honestly, selfish talk about do what makes you happy. No one can make you happy. All cap. Yeah, that's yeah. Yeah, no one can make you happy. You could if you can make yourself happy if it's working for you, please keep doing it. Okay. If you get to a stage and you're around certain type of people and you're not happy, maybe you don't collect. Okay. Maybe you're starting to collect because that talking point is ending up in potopoto.
Collect woto.
Talking points end up potopoto all the time because why? They're general. You know, they don't assess your particular situation, right? All right. So let me go on to let me see. Okay, if loved rightly, you will be happy because you will be productive and secured. Yes. Ojukokoro is what I've been talking about. Covetousness, lack of contentment, right? You're looking on the other side. Listen, when you look around enough, you're gonna find something that seems sweeter. It's not just you; it's the rest of us, right? But Yoruba people say, "Onwani la ngbe laruge." Edify what you have. The way you edify what you have is how other people will edify for you. That's a fact of life. Okay? And if you want to send everything you have into poto, guess what? You're going to find more than enough information. In fact, majority of the information online, when you Google any of this stuff, if you Google, you find stuff that basically help you paint a more negative picture. Okay? They basically tell you that it's better somewhere else. Let's go somewhere else. What are the men doing now? They're doing passport bros. Let's go to Thailand. Let's go and find a wife over there. Poto. You end up in poto. Because women are the same everywhere you go. Maybe it's just you don't understand their culture. And the day you understand the culture, you're gonna start collect poto already.
Sure, well, let me.
Hey.
That is good.
Let's go. Let's go to number 3. Married to the wrong person. Similar. Wait, you just found out you're married to the wrong person. You're looking at your ex in high school and you're now thinking like maybe you made the wrong mistake. Really? What happened to the part of commitment? Why do you think there was a need for commitment? Because there will be moments, there will be opportunities to feel this way. These feelings are valid. They're valid feelings, right? There's going to be more than 1, 2, 3 events where you feel like, Did I marry the wrong person? What would you need at that point? Commitment. Why commitment? Because commitment is what tests your level of integrity. What would ever make you feel like a person that lacks integrity can have a fulfilling life, right? You're married to the wrong person. Again, when did you find out? Was it before or after the wedding? Maybe Julian can answer me again. Was it before or after the wedding? I'd be 2 years into it. After see finish, don't enter. Did you even know what we're calling see finish? Do you even understand that the human brain is set up that way, right? Anything that's readily available will be taken for granted. So what can you do in that moment in time? What can you do if you're feeling like you are married to the wrong person? Well, number one, I want you to understand that we've all had moments that's making you feel that way. A little argument. Okay, it was a massive argument. Okay, it made you feel like you were a complete loser. Like what you cursed the day you met this person, right? But about 2 weeks ago, you guys were at the beach together and you were smiling. And, but every other 3 months, you find yourself in this quarter and you're wondering, did I marry the wrong person? This is unrealistic expectations at best. Okay? It doesn't matter how perfect the person you married is, you're going to have moments where you're wondering, did I marry the wrong person? If you go to the court and file divorce because you felt you married the wrong person, that's a bad reason. You go collect. Yep, you go collect. It's going to happen. Okay? Because again, what do I know? What do we know about life? Everyone has their own flaws. When you go and marry that other person again, if you manage to marry that person, you will find out that they're just humans too. Just like the rest of us.
Jesus!
they're just humans, right? So they're going to all the butterflies that was coming out of your stomach when you were chatting with them in the DM, right? For 3 months, you're still feeling it. Maybe you guys are traveling around town, whatever, or you're hiding and seeking, doing hide and seek with the whole affair, right? When real life kicks in, like it kicks in every situation, there's going to be that face, right? Every job you found in life, you're going to have that first 2 weeks, you're excited. The next 2 weeks, you're going to be like, maybe I had a better choice with the other company that was giving me an offer, right? And then after a while, you're going to find out that, this wasn't as bad as I felt in that first 3 weeks when I was button head, So married to the wrong person. Could any of these reasons be an actual reason? Yes. For the most part, no. They are terrible reasons. These are integrity issues on the part of the society we find ourselves in right now today. For the most part. There are some exceptions. There are some situations. Hey, Amaka, can you wave at me? Let me make sure that you're a human being. Actually, you don't need to do that. I know what I can do. Hold on 1 second. Amaka, can you hear me? Can you unmute yourself? Oh, Amaka disappeared. Amaka disappeared. Amaka disappoints me. Hey. All right. Let's see here. So, married to the wrong person. I have more questions. I'm not saying you're wrong. That's a bad reason. That's okay. That's not a good enough reason. I have more questions. You need to answer more questions. Okay. A lot of people know they are marrying wrong, but still go into it only to work out eventually. They already knew, but took the chance. That is still an integrity issue. The idea is that anyone you marry could will inevitably make you feel like they were the wrong person at some point in the marriage. Okay? They will at some point make you feel. I'm talking purely feelings, emotions. Okay? Anything that becomes physical or you feel like your life is threatened. Even spiritually, yes. Okay? I can't question that. Okay? I can't, I'm talking purely emotions. Okay, these are the major issues that's ending people up in divorce court. Emotional stuff. Okay, because I have way too many people that I know personally, good people, fantastic human beings, but emotion will be your mate. Because there's another person involved. So they already knew, but they took the chance. Well, they had questions, they saw red flags. That once you take the chance, you're not the only one that took a chance on a marriage. Relationships, romantic relationships, and marriages, 100% of the time, it's a move of faith. It's a journey of faith. That's what pragmatic people call taking a chance. Okay? No, forget that. Life itself, life go for it. When you wake up and you jump in your car and you start to drive to work, that's a journey of faith. Who told you that you were going to make it to work? Who told you? But what do? You committed to showing to work every day. I know it's easier because there's a paycheck on Friday. But think of marriage the same way. You took a chance. Is that what you want to call it? Sure, I call it a journey of faith. That's why people keep telling people you have to keep working on it. Whatever attracted you into that situation, right, may not be there temporarily. Maybe the person used to be rich, they're no longer rich. Maybe the person used to be big nyash, but now it's both stomach and nyash, and you can't figure out the difference, right? Welcome to the real world. Nothing lasts forever. Literally, nothing lasts forever. And honestly, when people say, "Oh, it was just because of big nyash that I married her,"
Stop the cap.
that's cap. That's cap. Okay, there's something that you connected with, and it's kind of harder when you get into the marriage that you're not able to connect with it for whatever reason. Sometimes you need elders, you need professional, wise counsel to help you reconnect. Yes, connection can be disconnected sometimes. That's the reality of life. There is no perfect person you marry that didn't have red flags. They don't exist. They just don't exist. And by the way, you're going to marry a person, and 4 years into it, you're going to see some events, and it's going to make you feel like, I saw these red flags.
Stop the cap.
Irony. For the most part, irony. You didn't see red flag. You're just in a position right now where you're questioning the decisions you made. Mentally, emotionally, you're just in that position right now. It is what it is. It's going to happen to the best of us. Awareness is half the battle won. Okay? Awareness is half the battle won. Amaka, I want you to come back, by the way. Awareness is half the battle won. Just being aware that as human beings, you're going to get into that space. As a regular human being, like why are you eating like that? You won't say it, but in your brain, it's just scratching your brain like this. Depending on your personality, right? you're just like, you're going to get into that moment. You question everything. It doesn't matter how good you got this. The reason why I'm sharing that with you, I want you to be aware so that it's not to make you force yourself to stay in a situation. That's not the purpose of this. It's for you to engage this as a skill set of life skills, a life skill. Basically, you assess situation and don't jump into conclusions based off of your emotions. Your emotions need to be acknowledged. They need to be taken catered for, because at the end of the day, that's part of what gives us the human experience, right? But you have to be careful. You have to be careful. Let me jump to number 4, because each one of them is 10 of them. Jesus Christ. I don't love my spouse anymore. Same reasons. Okay. Now, one thing you can tell me is I never loved my spouse. Maybe that one has less cap on it. Maybe that one has less cap on it. I don't love I don't love him anymore.
Oh my days, irú ọmọ wo wá rèé nítorí Ọlọ́run.
Really? That's how easy it is to stop loving people? Really? Did you ever love him? Now, let me make a very, very bold statement. Okay? I'm going to make a very, very bold statement right now. A person that has never been married before, you can't love a person. You don't know how to love anybody. Period. Period. If you've never, you can be in love. You can love the idea of loving. You can love the ideology of being in a marriage. You are not capable of loving a person. You're just not capable of it. Okay? Because love, when you talk about love, you talk about sacrifice, right? We're talking about test. You're going to be tested, remember? You suddenly start to have these feelings that you've never had before. Now you're calling it red flag. You saw it coming, but you didn't answer yourself. No, you're just questioning your decisions that you made. You're questioning a commitment. It was a commitment, by the way. It wasn't just a decision. It was a commitment. And this is a question of integrity. And if you have to save your mental health and pick one between saving your mental health and your integrity, I will always ask you to mental health. Okay? There you have it. I will always tell you that. Because I need you to be here mentally stable. Because nothing is going to happen anyway, right? Without mental stability, right? But I just want you to be aware that that's a thing. It's a question of integrity on the part of this generation. And when people try to build marriage around integrity, duty, and responsibility, I tell you, you're going to fail because it lacks emotional intelligence. People have integrity. Their capabilities of integrity is still around their emotional and mental stability. They're not capable of maintaining a level of integrity if they're disconnected from purpose. What's purpose? Value, right? What is it that they value in the generation that we live in? Will they work? I don't love my spouse anymore. Did you ever love your spouse, right? Well, when you get married, that's when you start to learn how to love. You're going to have moments of test. You're going to have moments of sacrifice. Some people call it compromise, right? Yes, I need to test everything about you. Because now you're not fighting for a prize. You already have the prize. See finish. No be your mate. Right? When you are aware that these are real things, a feeling, you're able to say, you have a better chance of calling yourself to order and say, Hola. All right, we're committed. We're going to learn everything we need to learn about this. Let's do a project together. Let's re-engage the things that made us fall in love together, right? Let's build on top of the fact that we're in love, right? And start learning how to love a person, right? Love is patient, is kind, is all of those things that people that are in love could give a shit about, honestly. Okay, they don't. They're just feeling good, right? About whatever it looks like. It's a wedding. Oh, I'm there, right? Oh Lord. As I say, I think they love their spouse because of something which were not there anymore. Lobaton, they were in love. Okay, semantics, granted, but they were in love, right? But loving a person, learning how to love a person it's level of commitment that comes with that. It's more or less a sacrifice. Well, sacrifice comes with rewards, but it's not rewards you can always see in sight. It's not always visible. You can't comprehend it in short term sometimes, right? That's why we call it sacrifice. It's kind of like you sow a seed, right? In the right season, and then hopefully it rains. Hopefully no rodent will come and eat it up. Is that possible? Yes. Can people come and steal everything on the day of harvest? Yes. Right? That's why it's sacrifice, because you can't see that far, but you take that journey anyway. That's why we call it a journey of faith. Somebody has said they took a chance. We all took a chance. All of us. Right? My beautiful wife upstairs can turn around tomorrow and say Gobi. Right? There's no guarantee in this stuff. What are the chances? Unlikely, because she's human too. It's unlikely. When people are being fed emotionally, it's unlikely. Okay? Especially the longer it is into the past, the more when you are aware But the key word is still unlikely. It's not impossible. So people, they took, listen. Anyway, Toby says, no, I says, Toby, you meet a reasonable person, your expectation not high, it's worth the work. The reason why we call work is because there's paycheck on Friday. You know, that's a reward, right? That's why we call it that. So it's very simple. You don't want that paycheck, you don't have to do the work. You don't want the reward, you don't have to do, it's very, very simple. You're not able to comprehend what $3,000 a week in paycheck means. It has no value to you. So don't do the work, right? So that's why value is necessary. We need to engage more value-based talk around marriage, not just duty, responsibility, integrity. The truth is that it might be illusions of options. Illusions of options have value. People will destroy everything because they think they have options. When they find out they don't have options, they're just casualty. It's just what it is. But they're all part of our society. And we need to all work together to continue to build a better society, right? Anyway, so let me run through pause the stuff, right? Number 5. I'm in love with someone else. If you're in love with someone else, you don't think this is possible? Oh yeah, people are collecting left and right. What? People are collecting left and right. All right? Because of this reason. Okay? They're in love with someone else. They don't say it out loud because they don't want you to shame them. They know you're probably going to shame them. Right? They don't want you to shame them. Right? They don't say, but people do get into that space. It's usually not a standalone thing. There are other things that have happened before a person can just get in a space where somebody's able to creep into their life and then they start to feel like they're in love with someone else. There's a crack in the wall. Okay, there's a crack in the wall. And usually at this stage when this is happening, they don't care. They don't care.
Don't care, still don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah. So, but yeah, a lot of people go through this. Just in case you don't know, it's that. Yeah, maybe they found out there's an affair and are you in love with him? And they're not able to give a solid no. You can't get a no, right? If you get a no, you'll be like, okay, maybe it was just a fling or something, a mistake or whatever you want to call it, all those terrible excuses, right? But they're not even able to say no. Or you say, so are you going to continue to see him? And they're not able to say no.
He shock you.
Yeah. A lot of people are going through that. It's a bad reason to leave your marriage. If you're feeling that ahead of somebody finding out, you're feeling that maybe you're in love, it's a bad reason. Okay? It doesn't mean you don't have your license to leave your marriage. You can leave. I'm just saying it's a bad reason. There's a good chance that you will collect later on. All right? Because that feeling, remember it's a feeling, is going to wear off too, like everybody else's feelings, right? Number 6. This is not what I expected. Let's do a quick recap. This is what we're covering, by the way. We're covering 10 bad reasons to get divorced, okay? All right. So this is a video you might have to watch over again later on, okay? Because you're going to get in a space where later on you're going to feel this when you do get married. You need to be aware that you're just being human for feeling that, okay? Don't allow anyone to shame you for feeling how you feel. But you need to be aware that it's a feeling. Number 6, this is not what I expected. What did I say about one of the reasons why marriages are ending? Unrealistic expectations. Number 3, unrealistic expectations. These are the issues. Okay, this is not what you expected. First of all, it was impossible for you to have any form of accurate, stable expectations. as a human being of what to expect in a marriage. It was impossible for you to have any kind of regulated, structured expectation anyway. So right off the bat, when you say this is not what I expect, I won't say it to my client's face, of course. This is a general public right now. We're just covering a class. But right off the bat, when you say this is not what I expect, I'm
Stop the
like,
cap.
so what do you expect? So tell me what you expected. What did you expect? I beg, tell me. Oh, I expected that usually, some kind of perfection or something like that. I expected, or something very vague, something like somebody that cares, somebody that's kind. What do you mean? What happened? What made you feel like she wasn't kind? And then they have to swallow a bit and say, all right. So for example, the other day, and then when you start to unpack, it's like, oh, interesting. All right. So what would you do a little bit different if you had the power to reorder the course of that behavior? What do you think you could have done differently? Honestly, I don't know. This is just getting too much. Then they go into another rant about how they emotionally feel, right? It's normal behavior. You're a human like the rest of us. I just want you to be aware of these behaviors. When you end up in front of a counselor or something like that, what do you end up doing? Just arguing throughout the whole course. You're just looking for someone to help you point finger at the other person. You were right, they were wrong. As soon as they can admit that, even though that's not really what you're looking for, you're not looking for a person that doesn't have a core, a backbone, right? That's not what you're looking for. What you're looking for is the experience that this was a human being and you were a human being and there was a synergy, right? You're not looking for an experience where the other person feels less than. In the short term, it might feel like that's what you're looking for because they were wrong and they need to humble themselves and be wrong, right? That's not necessarily what you're looking for. Okay? That's not what you're looking for. What you're looking for is the feelings of feeling safe and secure with that person again, regardless of how it comes about. It's all feelings. It's all feelings. It's highly unlikely that you end up with an extreme situation where somebody's just outrightly being evil. Okay? I understand that you don't feel that way because when you go through something, if you find one or two or three other people that you can relate with, you start to feel like the whole world is like that. If this whole world was like that, can you imagine that? This would be a war zone, right? This is not what I expected. What did you expect? That question needs to be answered, and we need to go in that rabbit hole before you can make this a valid reason to divorce. That's all I'm saying. Number 7, I want to pursue my dreams. I want to pursue my dreams. This is a terrible reason to get divorced. Okay? Just like when people say, I was pursuing my dreams. This is why I didn't want to do this, do that, do that. You could do anything you want to do as adults. You could do 2, 3 of them together at the same time. You can walk and chew gum at the same time. Especially when we're talking about things that are natural part of our being, right? Like a natural characteristics of a human being is reproduction. Okay. At emotional levels, one of the things that make us higher animals is the emotional social stuff. So it's damn near you call it natural. Okay. So why is anything that you say you want to do just as part of society, as part of your status in society, like education, any of this kind of stuff, why would that stop you from learning how to poop after you finish eating? Wait, let me slow down. Why would that stop you from learning how to eat? Right? But how did you learn how to eat? These things are natural things you have to do to multiply as a human being, right? But no, we know too much. Let's stop this and go and engage this. There's always been a sector of society that will do that. When it starts to increase and increase and increase, that's something we should pay. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but we should pay attention to that. Okay. I want to pursue my dreams. You should have been doing that. You should have been doing that. When did you decide that? Before or after the wedding, right? You can pursue your dream. How are you communicating that? Do you need 20 days girls trip to pursue your dreams? I see some comments of people still defending the 20 days trip thing. Girls trip particularly. Girls trip, you know. But if you wake up in the middle of the night one day, you know, midlife crisis, you want to start pursuing your dreams, and that's going to destabilize your family, that's a priority issue. And yes, that's an integrity issue too. I can't put integrity on you as a person because I think, again, integrity ends up in poto when people don't feel right anyway. You know, they will justify it, or they may come back and say, that's not integrity, Ola. Well, I know, but you committed to something, right? And suddenly that's no longer integrity. No, you committed to something. But no, let's just destabilize the whole family because I need to feel right temporarily. Men are doing it, women are doing it. But that's the space where we are right now. People are trying to, let me just do me. Let me do, you know, after all, I owe myself happiness. You know, screw her. Let me just go and do me. Really? You will collect. That's a short-term feeling. It's going to evaporate like everything else. And then you will have to come back to square one. What's that? Family, faith, identity. The basic things that you need to operate as a human being here, right? That gives you a sense of fulfillment. Like in Nyash, big Nyash, no, they give you a sense of fulfillment. Money does not give you a sense of fulfillment. It only multiplies what you already are. What you already are. Okay? That big Nyash you are chasing after will become just Nyash at the end of the day. You have to deal with that person. Right? Anyway, I want to pursue my dream. There's nothing wrong with that. But that has to be done with respect to faith, family, your sense of identity, purpose, the basic things in life, integrity, right? Are you going to maintain the integrity of your family while you're doing that? Now, I want to pursue my dream. Let me just go and file for divorce. That's a terrible excuse. Okay? Why? Does that mean you should just go back home? No. What I'm saying is that there are deeper issues and we need to assess those deeper issues. These are surface symptoms, things that comes to your mind straight when you're not feeling right in a marriage, right? If you stop right there, you go file for divorce, you will collect, okay? Because there's a chance that you're not going to learn what you're supposed to learn, all right? Even if it's really, really bad, you will just basically be pointing fingers at the other party as their reason, as your reasons. Okay, so let me go on to number 8. We're doing well. Marriage is hard. Marriage is hard. What do you mean? Killer me. Are you hearing that for the first time? Are you? Are you hearing that for the first time?
Ah! Ó já mi lára jẹ.
Well, is that a surprise? Is this a good reason to get divorced? Right? Again, this is a feeling. Okay? This is a feeling. Let me just do me like you didn't know you existed before. I know, right? The heart of multitasking. Yeah, even this one, I wouldn't group this into multitasking. If I have to go to work and I have to chew gum, gum, right? If I have to go to work and I have to walk to my job, it's 5 minutes walk away, right? And I have to chew gum. I won't stop chewing gum because I have to walk to work now. I won't stop walking because I have to chew gum now. Is that multitasking? I mean, that's disrespectful of the term multitasking even in the first place, right? Like these are, you have to, right? These are the issues. These are the issues. Yeah, so I hear you. Yeah, we can call it multitasking on the surface. I'm just like, that's like an understatement, right? He or she expected she would submit all our paychecks or him returning him home by 7 p.m. Put unrealistic expectations, right? But when reality starts to correct your head, why would you now want to go and get divorced because of that?
Not be juju be that.
That's a problem. That is a problem, right? Hold on 1 second, please. Hold on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have to hold on 1 second, and I'll be right back. Okay, let me just I'll play the countdown. I'll be right back in about less than a minute. I promise. Okay, I'll play the countdown in a second. Sorry about that. I had to address something really quickly. All right, here she expected she would submit her paychecks. Yeah. So now, does that mean you have to now submit your paycheck? Does that mean you have to now accept for life that this person will keep coming home? No, it means there's an issue that you need to address. It means there's a crisis in your end and you have to address it. That's what it means. Okay? It's not the cue to start looking for your way to exit, right? The more you engage this as I need to escape, I need to shut down, I need to fight, and just be nasty about it, the more you will attract the potential of that reality that you might just have to leave that marriage. Okay? So that's where we are in our society right now. It's just something to be aware of, just in case you find yourself in that situation. 9. God told me to leave. So what are you saying, Ola? I shouldn't just obey God? No, you should obey your God, though. I'm just saying, you should tell us the rest of the story so that the rest of society will stop thinking that marriage is just terrible, it's bad. They're like, no, the humans in it are moving a certain way. Everyone is trying to do them. Everyone is trying to just be happy. Okay? And they have, microwave society. That's what we live right now. And we will point fingers at anything, including God, as our reasons why we want to run from responsibilities. We need to start paying attention to that. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Number 10, bad sex. Okay? Should you stay if it's bad? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that this is fixable. For the most part, you can fix this. Okay? When did you start experiencing bad career? When did you start? Before or after the wedding? At what point did you start to feel like, Can you trace a step backwards and see when did it start? Is it because of childbirth? Is it because she's no longer taking care of herself? She doesn't smell as good as she used to smell? Well, again, the key thing with any of these things I call bad reasons is on the surface. Usually people will give them as an excuse. To be fair, people will just say them because they're already done anyway. They're just looking to say something. Right? But if this is the one thing, because when enough people start to say it as a thing, it becomes everyone else's truth. People will start making it like, oh, it's actually a thing. And then people will start beating their chest and talking like, yeah, that's the thing for real. Like, no, it's not. Like incompatibility. That's a very, very popular thing to say. And when people say they beat their chest with it, like, yes, it's true. Like, no, it's not true. What about the person that's saying it? Did they mean that, or they mean to say something? As a function of the state of the mind of the person that's saying, we're just incompatible. Are you patient enough to say, what do you mean incompatibility? In what area, Masa? The marriage is an institution. There's a lot of areas to it. What part, where were you incompatible? Are you asking further questions, or you're just You just take it and you go and repeat it to the next person. As that's a thing. Right? If you're having bad career, it's fixable. Okay? The first step is trace your step backwards. When did it start? When did that start? Is there something that you can point fingers and say, particularly if he improves in this way, he doesn't do foreplay, he just wants to pounce on me, he thinks we can just do it the way we did when we were dating. Have these conversations. Let's start talking about it. Let's unpack it. Let's start having these conversations before we conclude as a blanket. There's a lot of blanket stuff all over the place. No one is digging down deeper into individual levels to see what's actually going on. Okay? That's where we are with it. By the way, my voice is still healing. So, and my eyes is barely open, as you can notice already. So I'm still gonna go rest a little bit. I say subway. Who assess sex to call any bad or good? The person that's the person that's complaining about it, right? They might say it to friends, right? And they don't always say it that way. Again, they can say that like 1,000 different ways. But the idea is any of this surface stuff needs to be assessed. Any of this surface stuff needs to be assessed a little bit deeper by you. If you can't, very likely you can't, because you're the person in the situation, right? Talk to a wise counsel. Okay. But why? I just don't want the marriage anymore. Oh, okay. There's nothing wrong with that. If you just don't want the marriage anymore, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? But that's questionable integrity, okay? Because the other person, another human being that was involved in that, they were at least counting on, at least we can talk about stuff. At least we can talk about stuff together before we decide. Before we go to the worst case scenario, right? Okay. So again, Sebrola always hit on expectations. Yes, it's everything, almost everything can be traced back to expectations. Yes, because you can't have, like, what is it? I don't know. You don't know what you're saying I do to. You don't know what you're doing when you say I do. So it's like that's the first step in the expectation issues. Well, that's why couple needs to discuss. Yep. Somebody just said compromise. Yes, arguments are healthy. See, they're still arguing with themselves, right? Just saw that comment just came in just now. Still arguing with themselves, right? Go for your type. If you're a freak, then go for a freak until you find out 2 years down the line that they're not as freaky as you thought they were, because you have a different level of experience too now. So you're like, wait, I thought she was freaky, but she was doing basically nothing, right? Like, all that's again expectations, right? All that is in the poto now, because people are at different levels. You have two different moving train, different speed usually, And what do they want to do? They want to argue with themselves instead of sit your butt down somewhere and assess the situation like your life depends on it, right? If you don't think your life depends on it, but let's wait if you tried it a few times. Let's see if you still feel. Nobody's going to tamper with you. It's how you feel inside after you've run through yourself like this. It's how you feel inside. It's going to tamper with your self-esteem. It's going to tamper with your self-confidence. Like, who wants to fail over and over and over and over? Nobody wants to do that. It's not about anybody attacking you or making you feel some type of way because you failed. No, it's about you're part of the society, the society standards, right? And you will start questioning yourself. What is what is it that's smelling like fat on my body? You will ask yourself those things, and it just makes things worse. Right? So, yeah, things needs to be assessed. When your partner say bad sex, then your partner has tried someone else or expected more, maybe because it could just be internal feelings. It could be completely internal feelings. It could be just bleh, same over and over. If you get the same thing over and over the same way all the time, that can make a person start to feel funny. You know, it could be that. It could be because they're watching too much porn. It could be so many things, but it doesn't matter. The point is that that's your partner and they're feeling some type of way. If they bring that up as an issue, take it as an opportunity to go to the next level, right? But most people, what they do, they take an offense to it because in that moment they feel like, oh, so I'm not good enough to satisfy you. That's a natural feeling as well. But just be aware that, hey, you don't want to engage that natural feeling thing. You want to feel it, acknowledge it, but say, hey, this is I know better because I was here when Ola was talking about it 3 years ago. I know better. This is an opportunity to go to the next level. But a lot of people will end up in a pota because they were dismissive when their partner was bringing an issue up. Let's not cap about that. We all do that, right? They bring it up, you feel it as an attack, you're dismissive about it, you know. Question, the expectation thing is a big deal. So what do you think is the difference between having standards and having expectations? That's a fantastic question. So the difference is, for me, I'll speak about me, right? The difference for me is there's some things for me, right? I might even call them, what's the language that you guys used to use? Non-negotiables, right? There's some things for me, they're very, very, they're very so basic that I probably wouldn't get in a situation in the first place where those things are questioned. That as you might want to call it standard, that we probably won't gel. We probably won't end up in a marriage if these were big deals in the first place, right? So I'm trying to find an example. See how hard it is for me to find one, right? Because these things work by themselves. I don't have to overly express it or be looking at red flags all over the place for it. There's certain type of people with certain type of lifestyle. Like a girl, I'm just honest with you, a girl that's always smoking weed and she's always drinking and she's falling apart when we're coming back from the club. Even if I was at that same club, there was no way I was ever going to marry such person. It just doesn't gel, right? You might want to call that standards. If I now marry that person and now expect that they will become a wife, no be juju be that.
No be juju be that.
Right? That's a problem. That's some of the problems we're dealing with. Now, so for me, standards are a lot of things that we call standards. Not we, because I've been out of the game for 15 years now. A lot of things that this generation, from all the conversations I'm having, that they call standards are unrealistic expectations. There's almost no difference. Okay, and that's the problem. Okay. So the question might be like, what should be standards then? Something that has to do with your values. Maybe from where you're coming from, you're Muslim and you wouldn't deal with anybody that's not Muslim. It could be your personal standard. There's nothing wrong with that, right? I wouldn't call that unrealistic expectation. I call it unrealistic expectations if in reality that person has always been a person, and when you end up in a marriage, they become a person. They didn't become a person. They've always been a person. Meaning they fart at night when they're sleeping, and sometimes they snore loud enough for you, a light sleeper, to not be able to sleep, right? They didn't just fall out of the sky, start doing that. It's usually, even if anything, some people grow older and they do more of those things, but it's usually some kind of gradual change, right? That would be unrealistic to expect that a person will not fart in their sleep. Is that good enough? Even though somehow they managed to not show you that part of them when you were dating, right? Would you put that on your list? I know it's something stupid, but would you put that on your list as in like, these are my standards? Well, that kind of standard will fall in the poto by the time you get married, because they're going to be humans. They're going to be a little bit more comfortable. They're going to eat with the whole size of their right mouth, and it's going to make sounds that you don't like. I know, right? I'm trying to give some more blatant examples of things that might happen. If they're humans, they'll be humans. Sometimes they might, not they may not be in the mood all the time. For example, they're not in the mood sometimes. Maybe you notice they're not a morning person. But when she was coming over all the time to come and do kerewa and sleep overnight, you didn't notice, because when she wakes up, it's all exciting. She's not at home. She's with you, so she seems excited in the morning. When you've married now, she's not really a morning person, and you're having a hard time adjusting to that. That is an unrealistic expectation. We've all had them. My own thing is be aware that you have them and manage them. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Hey, is this thing that this person doing, is it completely unreasonable as a human being? If you say no, adjust yourself accordingly and say, I'm gonna have to love this man exactly this way, right? Or this woman this way, right? Banter about it, joke around it. You snore loud at night, right? No, I don't snore. I know I don't snore. How do you know you are asleep, right? But things like that, right? But we have very, very basic, stupid stuff becoming issues, right? If you give me some real life examples, a guy who's just not, if he's not kind, if you don't feel like he's kind when you were dating, you absolutely should not get with that person. It's only going to get worse when see finish enter. That's not unrealistic expectation. They're not kind. That's basic level standard, right? Love is kind, love is patient. If you feel like they're not patient enough with you, by the way, a person that's patient with you might not be as patient when you end up in a marriage. If you think they should be the same patience level, that's unrealistic expectations, okay? They will have to grow to that level to deal with that level of, you guys have known each other now, and they need to adjust too, right? It's a little bit more effort on their part to be patient with you after marriage. It's less effort to be patient with you when they were just in love and it was before marriage. They were infatuated, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's natural course and order of things, right? When you don't know a person but you're in love with them, you are excited about the idea of being with them, you are a lot more patient with them. It's unrealistic expectations to expect that person to have the same level of patience right after the wedding, right? The first 2-3 years, all that stuff is going to get tested. So after they get tested, you guys will assess wise counsel and say, hey, welcome to the real world. Now that thing's going to get tested, right? So this unrealistic expectation thing, yes, it might sound like I'm always talking about it because it shows up everywhere. It shows up everywhere. So standard, basic stuff, right? There's some, maybe I will list them out later on some kind of list, but everyone's list might be different. But I don't want you nursing list all over the place. There's a way you feel that that something doesn't feel right. Like somebody's not kind. That's how you feel. It doesn't matter if you're accurate or not. You don't feel like they're kind. Don't expect them to be kinder. It's going to get worse. Like I said, patience. They have patience, right? It's a part of their personality. Yes, they might maintain some of that, but they're going to lose some of that. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Like every progression of anything that's meaningful in life. Okay? As I say, this was wala. I need to find that sound effect. Hey, Just Jay, good to see you. Good to see you. All right. So yeah, that's it. What are the lessons today? We cover quite a bit of stuff today. Let's just all be guided, okay? Let's be guided. Let's keep coming back. Let's keep talking about this kind of stuff. And in reality, I can't tell anybody that they have, like, directly. I can't look at a person in their face and that reason is a bad reason to divorce. No. What I will be doing is asking them, what do you mean? Okay, so give me like paint what that looks like to help them assess and show them where they might still have some power. Usually they have power that they're not able to engage yet. Okay. And also in reality, we find out that these bad reasons are bad reasons after they've already filed for the divorce. That's not necessarily a bad thing either. Thank you for telling me. I'm going to go look for Portable. Yeah. I think I was trying to figure out who did wala, but I think that's the person. I'll find it. Right? So, yeah, just, it's very simple. Okay. It's not that much wala. Let's go back up here. Let me round up with this. Okay. It's actually super simple. Okay. We make it complicated when our emotions creeps in. Okay. Or especially if we had some experience that, experiences no be your mates. If you've had experiences, it's stuff you have to walk through, but practice makes perfect, right? It gets better with time. Get out there and practice. Not theory, not textbooks, not reading all the books in the world. All those books are going to create more fear. Practice gives you confidence. Okay. Practice, engage with people. Like he said this. Would that be a kind person, or that's just an evil person, right? He said he's in love with Kevin Samuels. Is that an evil person? Should I avoid that all the way? Should I avoid that all the way, or there's something else there? Like I probably will ask you, what do you mean? What did he say exactly? Which part, right? But you get the gist, right? It's be human. You don't need to have all the answers. This is the problem. We need to have all the answers up front before we get into the situation. Maybe 20 years ago that was a good idea because we're in that space. Right now people have too many answers that nobody was asking the question in the first place. So what they complicate the issue for themselves. They complicate the matters for themselves, right? Okay. It's very simple. Certainty, variety, significance, connection, growth, contribution, right? You need to be able to take care of yourself on this level. Learn how to take care of yourself on this level so that when somebody is not serving you, okay? Serving you doesn't mean that they have to be food speeding you. Food, how do you say it? Like spoon feeding you, right? That's what I'm trying to say, right? That's not what it means. But if their presence is taken away from your mental and emotional stability, it's going to get worse. Like, listen, everything is going to get worse when you first enter marriage, because that's the idea. You'll be tested. Everything will be tested because that test is what builds strength, and that's what's going to basically shoot you into the future. Okay, it's not a bad thing. When people find themselves in this space, of course it feels bad. So what do? They run for all these reasons and they pull the plug, right? And it gets worse because there are two people involved. So when you react a certain way, the other person responds accordingly because they're just human too, and they're responding with their emotions too. And men emotions in this regards are worse. They're either going to try to control you, anger, right? Yeah, all this behavior that you've seen all over the place. People trying to put their foot down when they already lost respect in the first place. People not knowing how to command respect. So speaking of respect, let me cover one more thing before we leave today, shall we? One more thing in 6 minutes, and then we'll call it a day for your Sunday evening.